Hey guys, welcome to Tactical Reload Talks. I'm Mark Power and this is Mark Power's cast. In this video, we are going to go through with Formulation Gaming, having a look at how they achieved and what they've done during the scrim, going through a kind of a PUBG Esports Tier 1 pro team, and understand a little bit more about breaking down movement, breaking down communication, and why the team move in. There's lots to cover in this video. We are going to be going through multiple maps and having a look all the way through to them getting to a second place. But for now, sit back. Let's just get into it. Here we go. Wash, wash, wash. Right, people, welcome in. Obviously, the first episode, so apologies for me. I've been joined by two amazing pros, Intenz and FuzzFace. First of all, thank you very much, guys, for jumping in and running through Formulation Gaming and as a team and what you guys are looking to achieve this year. I know we've been recording some videos on Monday. Some games went well, some games didn't go as well. But obviously, guys, welcome in. And Fuzz, massive shout again, massive master in 20 hours, you said.
Yeah.
Mate, that's an achievement, mate. So yeah, big shout. If you need to get ranked, first and foremost, you have to give these guys a follow. I'm pretty much in Fuzz's stream most of the time. Is your streaming what, like 6-7 days a week at the moment? Like it isn't.
Yeah, usually every day and some hours at least, yeah.
Far too many hours. It is good though. Right, so objective for the video, for everyone that is now watching, is really we recorded some Pro League Hub screens on Monday. There was best of 6. We do have 5 out of 6. There's one game we don't really want to go into too much, but with no further ado, what I'm going to do is actually bring this up now on the main screen, and these guys should be able to see. Hopefully, you guys can now see a video. And if I start hitting play, you should now get this. So game number 1, flight path, not too bad. And obviously, as we're waiting for the plane to really go in there, Fuzz, let's quickly talk about roles within the team. I believe you're the IGL. I might be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I do IGL.
What is an IGL for those that don't know?
I mean, it's pretty simple. Basically, you just decide like the team movements and how you take on fights. So you just make like the necessary calls, pretty much.
And then the other roles, because some teams have roles, some teams don't. There's some hybrid. Does Formulation Gaming have a set of roles within the team, or is that still being decided at the moment?
No, we don't really have any special roles like that. I think the only thing but it's more a natural thing how people like to play. Like, for example, Klib, he likes to be the one who makes the moves, maybe, and stuff like this. But it's not any set roles. It's more just individual play styles, how they prefer to play the game.
Understand. And obviously, some prefer fragging, etc. You're clear we're going to see it in this game because he does some insane plays. And obviously, we're hitting Pachinki. Game number 1 was for Erangel, and it's quite clear, as long as you guys can hear quite well. There's a lot of talk around where you guys are dropping, where we're going to, and if I just hit that pause though here, obviously you guys trying to hit this middle section within Pachinki. It's the heart and soul. You guys have got references to this. You guys were throwing out all sorts from pizzas, Clib, Mixie. So if first real, first intense and clear. Let's go to you for this one. You guys have a naming convention. How important is it to have a naming convention, especially when trying to play comp?
Section here, you have 4 buildings that are like they look the same, right? It's the same building that it's copy pasted in different locations. So if you don't have specific names for those ones, it's really difficult to interact with your teammates fast and relay the information, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important to have some specific callouts, and we also obviously have callouts for how different buildings look, and we call them different things.
And we can get an idea now. Actually, you guys start talking about where you drop, and obviously there's an element I think on both these games where you guys do try to hit the high ground quite. You go for the towers each time, and you kind of work your way on the roof, and obviously. Fuzz, you go really close up with a shotgun. I always call you shotgun template in stream. I need to get over that, mate. I know it's tasty. So I need to get over that. But obviously shotguns have been updated, so we'll come back to it in a second. But it's very clear that you guys are sounding quite a bit here. You guys are talking a lot. You guys are communicating and going, actually, hold on, where do we want to go and where are the most people? And to give or take, your comms are really on point here. Now, Ted, you make the move over the top. And if I just have a look, pause here, you're in rags, mate. You've got a pistol in your back pocket, a Vector with no extended mag. You've got a level 1 lids, but actually, arguably, this plays quite crucial though for the actual team, right?
Yeah. I would say I was extremely lucky this game because when I landed on the 3-story, or 2 as we call it, I found like Western Helmet Insta. As long as I just have a gun I can shoot, I'm trying to aim for getting roofs insta because this is what they usually go for. They go for these 2 buildings, and if we have roofs there, they're kind of stuck. They can't do much because we have them like. I think at this point we're only looking for that last guy. We didn't know for sure it was like 4 guys mid. It might have been a guy pizza that we weren't able to see, but out of what they're doing right now, we kind of have them like they can't do anything, literally.
It's kind of like on-fly decisions, like Intenz had that, where it depends on what he gets, what kind of loot he gets instantly when he lands there. Like sometimes you can't go roof because you don't get any guns, and then you have to go down and you have to loot more, and etc. So it's kind of like these on-fly decisions in these hot jobs where people just have to trust all your teammates to kind of do exactly what they need to do in a way. Maybe you have a game plan a little bit in advance, but realistically speaking, it just everyone needs to do like good decisions and take whatever space they can, and have good picks.
And part of that, the call quite early on, actually, I think it was just a little bit back there. Clib's like, hey, I'm going to make a move round. Now, you guys, this is what really noticeable for me. Obviously, we look at August here, which is a team that you guys are hot dropping at the moment. I'll just pause it there. They're very much in the pocket, as I'd always refer to it. They're very stuck as to where they go. And you guys have got this ability now where Clib's actually on the outside edge, that he can navigate his way around. You know where roughly 4 players are, give or take. You know they're not going to be able to captivate. Now, is this going to be like a consistent for you guys? 'Cause I saw it back-to-back games. Are we going to try and be creative with the plays? Is Clib always going to be that go-to guy, Fuzz, for you and the team?
I mean, he likes to make those plays, but also you can't always do the same things in these kind of hot drops. And the problem for us, I guess, is that the Orgless, they don't like to do a lot of moves. they like to sit still, so they're kind of forcing us to have to do things to make anything happen. And I mean, it's fine. It's a disadvantage for us, really, to have to make the moves all the time. But so far, it's been working out pretty well. So
let me pop this one up, because obviously on main stage side of things, as we continue that video forward, Clib at this point, he's already made his move all the way around the outside, and you can see like he's what tracks in and past, and actually, arguably, a bit of PUBG luck, maybe, a bit of Clib luck. He actually arrives at the right time. You guys are clearly still making moves. You guys are still actively going around. I know Fuzz just sort of sitting still, but on the comm side of things, it's very clear you guys are just sort of working out exactly where they are. Intenz, you know exactly where that guy is on that stairs, like pinpoint accurate that he's trying to hold that little window. A very generic question, obviously, while waiting for Clib to wrap round. And a question for, I think, a lot of people, and randomly people ask me, and I'm not the right person to ask, but headsets, like how important is it to have a good audio balance? And the second question for you guys really is, what headsets are you guys using at the moment? Okay, let's go Intenz first, go on.
I'm using Bose QC20s. It's in-ears.
Yeah.
I've been using like a lot of headsets recently, but the in-ears works like way better for me. That's like a personal thing, though.
I also use QC20s. I mean, I started using them just because, like, way back in the day, it was a lot of LANs and you needed the in-ears over like inside the headset, so I got really used to them and how the game sounds in those. So I got used to them and I liked them, so I kept on using them. But I don't think. I mean, you can use whatever you think works for you, right? Like it's not a big deal what kind of headset you use. I feel like most headsets have good audio quality these days.
Yeah, again, I'm a big fan of the in-ears. I don't know why. I just find it a lot more easier to determine those. But obviously, we caught Clib. He does wrap in at the right time. He does catch that player jumping out. I think Global Army was a little bit aggressive, personally, to try and go for that flush, especially not having the intel. And then instantly, straight on top of that roof, I suppose that's the advantage. That's what you're looking for. The mistake was really done there by August, because you're sitting on the vector on top of that roof, and you just picked apart that player quite instantly. Not unable to do too much damage. I know Fuzzy put you under a bit of pressure, but with that player above, really sort of closed that down. And then you move over Intenz. You go to the other roof. Is that again now just to try and stop anyone trying to get that flush? Are you trying to stop people getting towards his techers? I believe it's at the moment, the ability to get to them.
Yeah. So I don't have the best vision from that opposite roof. So I knew, like, after I knocked the guy below there, I know he was alone in that house, so I'm just making moves so Fuzz can run easily to the 3-story, and I'm like pinpointing him all the time as well.
Yeah, and I think
And we still know there's a guy below me, and I'm kind of how should I say it, blocking this guy to do something again.
yeah. Well, it's quite clear he can't come out and cause you problems. Clib's got you covered technically from that east side. Obviously, Fuzz, you make that big move back and around to get that, and again you pre-stop. You kind of guessed that guy was going to be watching your crossover. You put him in nicely. You eventually get yourself back. You do make a really good shout on comms as well, just before that point, is that actually you say you need to back away because you need to get over and jump over the player. I see so many times people get caught on the feet of their players quite well. Obviously, back to a 4 now. You've got one knocked, pretty much flushed out. You've already got one flushed out, and there's 2 left remaining, of which, again, in the comms, you guys are like, hey, these guys are split. Now, Fuzz, you make a big decision here, right? You're looking for the pick, but you actually make the call to stack up. And again, just for people watching, like, sort of run through your mind, why was the call to get to the boys and stack up on this player?
I mean, it's pretty easy, to be honest, because we know it's a 2-man, and we know both the houses they're in, and there's really no reason to not stack up. You just make sure that one is dead, and then it's a 4v1. So it's really like a no-brainer. Like, you can deal with him afterwards, and he won't be able to help his teammate later. Like, so it's just, I always like to prefer to stack the odds in your favor, kinda. So just do things methodically and without risk, if possible.
Yeah, and again, you receive a knock. It does get one down to 1 man, and you guys instantly stop again. You're like, hey, do you know what? Pause, get the res. You can't flush, and then again, it's a let's stack up and go. He does pick up one. Eventually, you find out, and I think you guys stay clean very much after that one. After that, obviously, it was a point of actually now where the zone pops. The zone now moves further away, further afield, and it's like, what is now the call? Because you look at this style of zone. You guys have cleared August, and it's now, hey, let's get the shift up. Couple of things, Fuzz. You make a call that you want to play late, and I'm going to make the assumption, but again, please correct. Is that because you guys are late now coming to the zone? Expectations are there already people in front of you, excluding the doozy flying around you guys in the glider twice.
Yeah.
Actually, he glides past you guys. But just again, talk us through what's the thought process here. Where are you guys looking to go? What's the next steps for the team?
Yeah, I mean, so we spend a lot of time in the hot tub, right? So when we spend that much time on it, it's just unrealistic to think that anything ahead of us is free. Like, everyone is gonna be ahead of us into zone. So it just take our time, make sure that we have any loot now as well, because we obviously don't have good loot from the hot drop. So we need to loot a little bit more, and we're gonna be even later. So yeah, we just take it slow from there.
And obviously, the path here, we're going to look at the video in a second, but you guys play towards that sort of boatyard, and one of you pick out one of the players up on the roof. Again, I love the play. If I bring back up the video, I do love the play that you guys go for, because I think it is you, Fuzz. Again, you make the call to, hey, can you cover me, and you move the car into a position, one, that's safe, but 2, you're trying to bait that shot out. You're trying to get that player to kind of over peak and extend to you to potentially pick up the knock. That doesn't quite happen, obviously, and you guys are unable to make that push forwards. But was the plan always to try and go through boatyard and go over? I know you guys change it because of the outcome, but what is the play here to go across that bridge on that south side?
Yeah, I mean, the initial thought was that if it's free, we can always take it. And then I got really close before we started peeking.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a line that I would prefer to play, like from the boatyard, because since we're super late, we don't really have any prior spots, and we just have to try to make do with the space we get.
Yeah.
But obviously they stack up there, and it's a pretty bad fight if you don't get the opening knock. So we just try our luck on a different side of the zone afterwards.
If you had an E pickup in your back pocket, guys, would you have opted to take an E pickup? Obviously, on Monday, you guys didn't pick up one and make that play. Some teams seem to favour it. I do start to see teams avoiding E pickups as well. But again, would that have been an option if you had it, or is it always let's get the cars, let's spread out and take our time now coming into zone?
I mean, it depends really on the zone. Like this one, for example, we would probably keep it, like take it with us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that I would instantly do on this zone. Maybe next one, because you lose all the cars obviously when you use it. So you have to know that you can play from that area on foot, pretty much.
Yeah.
And yeah, this zone is not all of it is playable on foot.
No, and obviously you guys now starting working your way down. Obviously Clib was the first there. He hits that bike and he comes straight over to the top. So he's the one looking at that boatyard. Tekers makes the play across towards sort of ruins as a slight split. And again, I'm assuming that's trying to get an angle, trying to bait these guys in, so to speak. So let's get this last car. There we go. It's a full suite of cars. You guys don't normally go 2 up in cars either. I did notice that you like to spread out and pick a car each. And again, some teams seem to prefer a 2-2, which I don't kind of get. I think the stacking up is a little bit better. And here you go. Here's this look. Obviously, Clib pulled up on the ridge. He's got the bike. He has actually picked up art, but he does jump away from this, which is quite unfortunate. That's the play for you to get that car around. And there you go. You can see that car coming down. Take that ridge line really well. Intenz, obviously, you're a little bit closer towards the action. You're a bit over towards this sort of left-hand side here. Are you trying to again look for that pickup? Are you trying to look for that knock though on that roof at this point?
The call was there was one guy in the flat top, so we're kind of looking to get him. I mean, hindsight, I should have been able to knock him, honestly, because he clip tagged me once and I just whiffed a headshot, so I bodied him instead. And I also have a Dragono, which is like perfect range for this type of fight or knock.
Yeah, very deadly, very deadly. Obviously, you guys don't make a knock. Sometimes I see the mistake from teams. Actually, they still commit to things like this, but Fuzz, you opt to back away and make the call to give me cover. Again, just talk us through like the thought process behind that, and not going aggressive in, I suppose.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't think it's a fantastic fight to take if you don't have the opening knock. Like if you have an opening knock, then I'm happy to take any fight, but especially with the zone, like it's not going to end on the south side, so it's not a very high priority spot neither for us.
Yeah.
So we're just checking for other stuff afterwards.
And again, this push forward, guys, obviously massive extension, Clip lead in charge as always, pushing over towards the other side. You guys remain though on the south side, and obviously you've got the zone. You have the ability to sort of play, and Clib obviously is kind of out here on his own, and you guys are talking about obviously the blue line, the orange line, and I think I asked you guys after the game, the blue line is that sort of peak where Clib is. This line he's running now. Obviously, you guys are trying to get. Yeah, okay.
Kind of, and then up on the hill there from.
Like towards, I think it was Esports, so back towards that sort of left-hand side when we look at Clib, basically.
Yeah.
Intenz, nice knock, nice steal, peak at the right time. I think you do pick one. I think you nearly get the second as well, actually. Twisted Minds obviously have played into Exalt. Exalt didn't take that pick at the time. I think part and parcel that is because you guys sort of pulled up and drew their attention away from it. So they get caught, eventually they get eliminated here. And just talking people through, you guys are looking for points at this, right? You're looking at this zone that it's going to be quite difficult to get into, and you're trying to get some points on the board, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, we should be a little bit faster and get over towards Clip side, so that we can. It's gonna happen sooner where Twisted they can drive in and drive kind of ahead of us on the bridge there, and if we're more people on Clip, then we're gonna we probably wipe them and have an okay game with a couple of more kills, but we're a little bit slow here.
And there's that zone shift. Yeah, I think you're right. It's the timing. Twisted Minds get pretty quick on that move. They're straight in the cars. Now, you guys obviously go midway point. You can see on the right-hand side, you guys go mid and then come over. And they go full send in the car, basically. They opt to go straight over. There's obviously, you're anchoring back here. You're on the hold. I think you're one of the last to come over. I might be wrong, actually.
No, I was.
And again, just talk people through. Obviously, you're holding here. I call it the anchor play, but again, explain to people that may not know, like, why are you not with the team? What is the objective?
To gain as much info about VP, Twisted Minds, as I can. I think earlier as well, I should have been able to pop 1 or 2 more cars, so I'm like pressuring them a lot, and they also have to leave with like 1 car later on, which would be a lot easier fight for the boys.
I think you take some heat from Esports, don't you, as well? Because they were sitting in Cube. They actually wrapped there quite early, but their drop is down by that South George, so it's kind of a go-to take, and Tekers had picked him up as well earlier. obviously looking for to try and close the bridges off. But again, that sort of hit, I'm assuming it delays your approach coming over, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got shot to like 10 HP there at the end, so I had to heal, and then I have to do a swim over to Fuzz. I could have been like a lot faster, because if I'm like closer to the boys here, we basically have a 4v3 and not a 3v3 at this point.
And it's quite unlucky actually, because I think Tekis is trying to wrap on the other side, isn't he? But he gets caught, he's down. He does try to get some information, because for those that are not aware, when you're down, you can still talk and provide intel, because information is key. Obviously, there was a Scuba Steve, I like to call him on stream, but it's causing you guys a little bit of issues. He could pop up here anyways, where he is. And at this point, for me, it's kind of like ensured destruction. As a caster, we're looking over this point as in there's going to be a lot of action. It's either going to be GG or you that's going to take the win on the fight. And unfortunately, Twisted Mind's in a very difficult spot to try and get out of. I don't think... Actually, I think you guys might have just picked up GG at this time, Fuzz. And obviously, you don't have many options, though, do you, from here?
No, I mean, at this point, we were all, like, the damage was already done, right? Like, we were already a little bit too late, and people got ahead of us. So now, at this point, it's just, you have to try to just push and try to get kills. That's it. It's a lot of that in PUBG, where why you die is from mistakes you did a little bit earlier. So it's not the play always that you do at the time, it's what you did a little bit earlier in the game that really seals your fate. That makes sense?
That there is the seal of the fate, though. Let me just quickly pause that. So yeah, this is a good question, actually. This is what I wanted to ask you. Like, if you could go back and change it, which we can't, what would you have done differently in that scenario? Obviously, I know you know the outcome, but talk to people about that, what you would have changed.
No, I probably would have just got over more people to clip side earlier, because we watched the bridge far left, almost in the blue zone, but question mark held it with 2 guys. And sure, we can pull up on that too, but we have to rotate in the blue, so people are going to be low from that and pull up on 2 guys on a good hill over the bridge. So they probably like it's not a great play. So I would probably do the same thing, but just be faster on it.
Just get those points in the board. Points on, and I think you guys did allude to me that it was going to be a bit of a hot drop day anyway. Obviously, very quickly, either of you, which one want to explain it, talk to everyone, because there are rules around scrimming and hot dropping. But why can you guys hot drop August, but August couldn't hot drop, and we see it a bit later, GG?
Yeah, so basically, for scrims, we have a couple of artificial rules just to try to keep the quality of scrims a little bit better. So if you're a higher tier pro team, so say, for example, people who have made worlds or made finals and stuff like this, then people who haven't had the same achievements, they can't hot drop on them. So it's just kind of a tier-based system of how good the team is. So you get a little bit of protection for doing good in actual tournaments.
And keep those 4 up, but you guys are equal up, so it is a hot drop. And again, we see a little bit of difference. Now, Intenz, you don't go for the roof this time. Obviously, I'm making an assumption you didn't have anything on that roof. You've had to go down. Why don't you go back up to the roof and jump over? Is it just too much of a risk at that point?
I am trying to, but I'm getting blocked by one of the fences on top there, so I wasn't able to jump all the way over. That's what kind of ruined this game, because I'm doing the exact same thing, but you see I'm slow there. I'm getting like, yeah. I talked with Fuzz about it, and you should always just jump on the fences around that area, and then it's like way better jump.
Not the gap. So jump on the fence and get across. Understand. But this time you went along the line. You didn't go up and on top of, I suppose, Augus's player. So you changed the route of which you went in. Is that intel based? Is that because you knew someone was right in front of you at the bottom point?
Me, the guy in front in the house.
Yeah, so you're going for game number 1. You let me go back slightly. On game number 1, you jumped straight onto that blue roof.
I jumped to Tully that game as well, but I was fast as F to jump on the other roof back again.
Go back the other way, I understand.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fuzz Clip's doing clip, and this time he's a little bit southern than the other location. It does puzzle me that August don't pick him up, if I'm honest with you. Like,
two.
I would have thought they would have been more aggressive, understanding that someone else has dropped on a different line. They're arguably a little bit more aggressive than game number 1, but
I don't have any
really not taking advantage of that sort of floating player, are they?
He's sitting outside triple in the door. Fucking.
Now, first knock comes in,
I'm
and then Intenz, obviously, he comes off that hold, and you go stick that res, right? And it's key to get this done. I think you guys are a bit unlucky in this round, if I'm honest with you, because you do go for a stack up, and you do make a play, and I think this one player is very, very lucky with the Uzi.
Oh yeah, fuck this game.
Yeah, it's this game. You'll see it in a second. I actually thought you'd take him down, but it was pretty quick. So Global Army, he picks you, and the guys above you. And I think Fuzz, you make the call just to push him, stack up, and go. And it's very unlucky.
Yeah, I mean it's sometimes you don't win those stack ups even though you probably should, right? It's just how the game works. Sometimes the other one is the enemy is better. It happens.
And again, like Clip, he gets away with murder. Like they don't look at him once until he starts engaging, and he picks up Global Army. Global Army again, quite an aggressive player for this team as well. Like his movement, he does go and take the fight to teams. Obviously, you've got the player who tried to run round and jump on top of you guys, and obviously he's now sitting above on the smoke. He's got no intel. They then start to do the reverse, what we saw from the last game. So they're now on the roofs. They're keeping you guys in that pocket. And we are going to see him go roadside in a second. I think it's worth noting as well, the second player does miss the roof. And he is a big issue for flushing out and getting knocks. But you'll see he actually jumps for this roof but completely misses and ends up in the rows. And I think that's another reason why you guys go down. But here comes the res, and he's going to jump out in a second. And I think the call was he's roadside.
One towards tower 2 now.
And yeah, you can hear it. Tower 2 now. And you guys should.
One jumped. Come.
There we go. There's the call.
Push right side around.
Yeah.
Watch easy on the top now. He missed the jumps, and he actually ended up the road. And I think that's the reason why. So I think you were a little bit unlucky there, if I'm honest. I think if he made the roof, I think it would have been a different outcome.
One behind and one inside.
Maybe. But it was a good a double knock from him. So I mean, it happens. You know, like sometimes you have to push, and it's definitely the right play. We're 3 versus 1, but he gets 2 of us, so it's well played from him. Yeah.
Obviously, he clears his own player as well. Worth noting, if you don't read the kill feed, to try and get upstairs, Clip gets himself underneath. Now he can't get these reses, can he? He can't run in. He has to take the fight, and this is slightly strange, but jumps out and does go quite aggressive. And unfortunately, that is the end of game number 2. Quite a difficult one. But yeah, I'm still intrigued, obviously, as to why they haven't picked up Kleb. And obviously, there's a bit of unfortunate PUBG luck. Moving over, obviously, Vikendi-wise. Map you guys like? Do you got used to Vikendi now, or is it still a bit up in the air?
Personally, it's still up in the air. I don't know if I like it yet. I think it's gonna be way better since they have added it to ranked now, so I can like play it more. But like as of right now, I don't really enjoy that map.
Obviously, you guys going for train station. Any reason why this is your hot drop, Fuzz, or where you want to take?
Yeah, always this kind of houses. This specific house is only one of them.
The big one.
It really depends on how the plane path is and where you can land. It's just that simple, to be honest. You land wherever you land first is where you're gonna go, so that you can make sure that you get a gun and stuff before the enemy, right? So you try to have the best shots you can and just land, first. That's it, really. And then after you get those guns, and then you just have to play it out from there.
The alt drop for you boys. Where would you else go? Where's the kind of the secondary hold for you?
Stairs.
How do you mean?
So your secondary drop. So obviously this is your primary. You want to get to all the time. Do you have another location that you guys would get to if you can't get to train station?
No, not really.
get yourself here. I think you guys play this really well, though. I think this is the first map that team communication came into real big play. You guys cross up so well. I know we have a bit of a bad shotgun section, and you guys get railed, literally, with that push. But Intenz, you're down at the moment. You're still giving communication to the team. Tech is obviously trying to be creative. He comes out and he goes rounds. But when you look at yourself, Fuzz and Clib, you two are holding very unique angles.
Yeah, it's basically for now we were trying to kind of reset the Clib knock first, and then Intenz also got knocked. But it's always these kind of fights. You don't really quite know where people are, and when you hold angles like fully and sit still, kind of, then if you're open for multiple angles, then you get knocked super easy. So especially Clib here, you'll see like he's only holding an off angle. I think most people know what an off angle is. Basically where people don't really quite expect it. So you're not hard peeking the actual point where people can peek, but a little bit off. So yeah, for example here, Clib isn't actively peeking this angle where he can actually peek. He's just holding for Intenz, basically. So if they try to push into Intenz, then he'll see them.
Yeah, he'll catch that. We see it in the mirror mine a bit as well. It's quite apparent as well. You guys don't go out onto the walkway. Yeah, that's Clib's here in the room. I suppose you're trying to deny line of sight to the player, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, yeah. And then I tried to go for Intenz, but didn't quite make it in time.
There you go, down and round. Obviously, you're holding the opposite side, so you guys cross up. You're looking over past Clib. Clib's looking over past Intenz, obviously, and the information store key. Intenz, do you still stay in your body after that point? Like, do you still sort of stay there and able to get farm information?
For a couple of seconds, but then Fuzz runs on top of my body. So then I'm just trying to swap around and help the boys to see and give info if I see something they don't. It's no point of staying on my body since Fuzz were literally on top of me.
That's a great knock as well.
Yeah.
Great knock. And again,
Clib doing Clib things.
Yeah.
doing Clib things. He's such a creative player as well. He's such a I enjoy casting pretty much everyone in the lobbies, but there's a few of you guys that do the same. This is unfortunate. There's one. There should have been two. Third time he's down for one. I think you take a side swipe. You do. So unfortunate that.
Yeah, sometimes the railings are out on your side.
With the new update, you still be picking up shotguns?
I was trying it a little bit in ranked, and it's still good as long as it's very close range. So basically they nerfed the spread reduction. So basically just worse on long distance, but it doesn't really infect the damage close range.
Yeah. And apart from that, we sort of cut there. They go one way, Focus goes out the other way, and he finds some drops and eventually ends up with a P90 with an insane amount of bullets if you haven't seen already. 350. Lucky pulls up Michael. He just rolls by. I think it's like literally a couple of steps back, right? He's picked up these drops, but I'm not a fan of the mass amounts of drops personally. I do prefer the one. I think you guys can get pretty stacked up as a team pretty well. With one, you don't get the opportunity to. Now at this point, obviously, Tech is trying to look to get in. He's cresting the edge, and I think the zone does him dirty here. And that Fuzz, that really forces him potentially to play into that fight. Is that like looking for points now? Is it like we're not going to get the win? Let's get as many points as we can?
When a lot of times when you're alone alive like this, then you just look for whatever points you can get. You're not really looking to win the game. Like, it's so unlikely that if you can get a couple more, like 2 or 3 points, then that's already a good job.
And big difference here, he's playing the edge. Didn't send the car straight into the middle like we see with some teams. Some teams prefer that. Let's get into a shack and hold. But I do like it. Tech goes great, creative. He can hear the fight. You guys are talking about the kill feed and who's fighting who. The tower there is quite OP. We always see people hiding up there. Always see people dying up there as well, to be fair. But again, he takes the opportunity now just to continue going forward. It's like a, hey, let's take the fight. If the fight would have stopped at this point, is it worthwhile him just going to ground, or is it still a send forward, get what you can?
I mean, here for sure, especially when it's knocks on both sides and stuff, then obviously you just want to take whatever points you can get there.
Nice little 2 though.
Yeah.
So he puts him on to 3, puts him on 5, and I think he's really unfortunate here. How in the compound, and yeah, Quebecer goes really wide. So I thought he saw him to start off with, but he didn't, and then obviously the initial shots. But Vikendi, Fuzz, for you, a map you like and enjoy, or store?
It's been growing on me a little bit. I really didn't like it in the beginning, but more so now. I think I don't really like it because of what map it is. I like it because it's something different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. You guys change clothes as well. I'm starting to see people have like these white tracksuit or polar bear outfits. So
Yeah.
you guys do? Is it worth doing? Is it a recommendation?
I mean, you might as well. It's not always you remember, but yeah, I mean, there's no reason not to do it. Especially on this live client when we play scrims, then you can have these presets, you know, so you can have all maps ready basically, and then you just click a button and then you switch over to that.
I suppose you can't.
I'm using it all the time.
Yeah.
Switching.
Love it. I've seen more and more players doing that. More and more. Obviously, you can't do it at the majors, right? Because you guys you need to pick on the event gear, should we say?
Yeah.
So you can get away with it in these style events and the live servers, etc. So I suppose take it. It's a win. You'd be surprised the amount of people I see run over someone, and if they're wearing white gear, they don't get spotted at all. And a bit like this map. Again, Intenz, what's your thoughts on Tego? It's a very different than Vikendi.
Oh, this fucking circle again.
I like Taego way better than I do with Vikendi. I don't know what I like about the map, but I think it's like it's more of a fighting map, if I can say that. I feel like if you take something that is not a compound, you always end up fighting, and that's what I like.
Well, your style of play has always been like on your feet fighting outside of compounds, and obviously you guys weren't hot dropped here. As you make a comment about playing blue, and obviously the zone being south, and GG might be trying to hold out, but GG obviously play in. What I really like about this map, myself personally, is the amount of bowls that you can put cars in, that you can take fights in open terrain really well. And this is a great example. I think Fuzz, you've picked this place up, haven't you? I'm assuming this was that blue mark you was talking about.
Yeah. It's still a very big learning curve for this map, where you have to find new dips and playable spots and stuff, because it's a really big map, and you know, there's a lot of dips around on the map, so you kind of need to learn a lot. Even though you've played it for quite a while now, you still find new things a little bit here and there all the time.
Yeah, and obviously good spot above, and then you do spot. It's Uber making the play forward to you, and then it's a clear decision here, right? To back away.
Yeah, because they have angles on us, and they wanted to be aggressive, and sure we can stay, but you never know exactly where people are, and like I said before, I like to stack odds in my favor if possible, and not play super risky.
Understand. Oh, so you guys go back to the compound you rotate into. Obviously, you guys have been looking back towards that sort of north side or northwest. You do obviously now see the fight that does kick off between Vorpal, Sword, and Pin. You guys obviously are trying to again gain those points at this moment, right? There's a big decision though. Clip wraps out really wide. He leaves his car behind, and obviously you make the call to say, do you need to pick up? And he says yes. But he's really disciplined here. He doesn't pull the trigger. I think a lot of other players might have started spamming some shots here.
I think it's just waiting for the better opportunity to get like 100% a knock and then possibly a flush as well. And you don't want to be standing out there wide open shooting when it's like already 2 teams fighting.
Might find it turned on. No, so I have not got this recording, so they cut it out. But obviously the rotation in, I think it's really unlucky. You go in between a bowl. I think you see the car and you make the play. But Fuzz, you make a comment about keeping the cars together is more key and a learning point for the next time. Like, can you just talk us through like why basically?
I mean, yeah, basically is you just have more people who can shoot back and more targets for enemy, right? So if, for example, this one where it's 2 guys, it's me and Klib in 1 car. Both of those GG guys, they can both shoot our car only, and it's more likely that both of us die, and then we can't be refragged by Techers Intenz. But if we had all 3 cars there, then maybe they can refrag one. They have more. Maybe they don't shoot the same target, and you know, you just have better odds of surviving or refragging each other.
Yeah, I understand. I do like the end. He did wait for that bike. Lucky enough, he was gifted at the end and didn't really much more from that. I think FaZe came in, GG came in at the end as well. So he was really unfortunate. I didn't show. He did disconnect. It happens in PUBG, and it happened at a very bad time. And I actually think he was going to get that, especially that blue zone nade at the end. Anyway, Miramar. This is game number 6. Game number 5 was quite quickly, but this one I actually think I want to talk about a little bit because again, it's another example, Fuzz, where you guys hold angles really well. I think it's a couple of mistakes from some smoke location, but more importantly, the Sandstorm comes in. It kind of like eradicates your smoke, doesn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly this game, but yeah. So the second the Sandstorm comes in, then all smoke just instantly disappear. So even though the Sandstorm isn't quite on you yet, they just disappear instantly. So sometimes you get really caught by surprise, actually, when that happens.
It's you see in a second. So doing clip things, and actually, enough, Fuzz, you're doing fuzz things as you go from that 5 stack and you push in. The game before, you guys were very close together. You went for the other side of this, but you do get the initial knock. They then come more aggressive. They're pretty much in a line. I think you make a call, Fuzz, that they're mostly taking arena. But they don't. They stay so close. They're just not as creative sometimes on the movement. You guys move your way in and up, and I think this is the unfortunate piece because you're on the other side now. So Fuzz, your job at this moment, right, is to cover the boys trying to get out of the building, right?
Yeah, I mean, also what you said about they don't take arena, and that's kind of what I was pointing at in the Pochinki game. They don't really move that much, so we always have to make the aggressive moves here. Even here, where they are in the same house, they mostly hold angles and sit.
He was there for a while, but you guys picked it up. You heard the movement in. It was a call. There's a guy in my building. I'm pretty sure he's moved to a shotgun. The calls seem to always be on point. They don't tighten up. He does sit there for quite some time, and then this is where we kind of see that your angle and Clib's angle. So you chuck a smoke over towards the door, not to the window, at the moment, which is just there. And then the second one comes down, and it's just unfortunate the boys drop just in the line of sight and actually get picked up by the person holding the angle, should we say. I will sum it up like that as well.
Yeah, so for example there, the purpose of the smoke there is not to block the window, it's to block the roadside so that they can play on the front side without getting picked from a different guy. Because we already know about this guy. So that they can't peek from back office or further back on the street, basically.
I understand. See, I didn't know that. And then that smoke there was to stop potentially that window peek, but this is where we see the Sandstorm roll in, and it causes unfortunate disruption, but it does allow an opportunity for you, right? Because you take this time to go and make a wrap.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's I guess the the main purpose of the Sandstorm is kind of, you get free movements sometimes. For example, that cross, they would have seen that probably on the road because it's wide open, but just because it's Sandstorm, they don't see it. So sometimes you can do creative things with the Sandstorm as well.
Obviously, it says at this point you've backed away, you've pulled away from this location anyway. Clib takes your spot. And what I really like about you guys, it's natural. You don't talk about it. You just kind of know what to do and where to go. And I think that comes from years of experience, right? But you catch one who tried to come out and get that flush. And then we look for the pickup. And obviously, you go for the pickup. You use the vehicle as cover. I like, again, this smoke, I'm assuming, is to deny the ability of information or someone popping out on that side to get a flush. And again, you make it just about in time.
I can watch the cross at least.
That's where we kind of like where you need sounds. Then most people say comms, I say shush shush shush.
Clib, good angle again. Another great example that he's holding that off angle, stopping that push go through. You guys shush and knew exactly where he was. Good shots go through the window. But again, you're constantly, I suppose, wary and looking back this way. Goes for a stack up. I do like to dodge the nades. Do you know what I like, Fuzz? You're always pushing forward, mate. Always getting aggressive. Like, I think in a second he pops that molly, and instead of going down the stairs, you go towards the player every time.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on timings, right? So sometimes you're more safe going forward than backwards, and that's just something you have to get used to. Like here, for example, then he hits that molly, and I'm safe on top, but if I go down, then I'm on fire, right? So
Yeah.
it's just it's just a habit thing. You kind of have to judge that every time someone uses the utility, if you're gonna be safer on whatever side it is.
Blue zone nades, Intenz, do you like them?
Yeah, I really like them actually.
You guys are getting, again, like most other teams now, you're kind of stacking them up. I think the comms there, you're just going to try and lob a secondary blue zone nade, right? But obviously didn't deploy out in time. And obviously when we do get it, he already backs into the corner. Always try and stack them up, I'm assuming, is the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, especially when it's 3v1, then
I really want to sit and cross in the orange corner.
I mean, you have to. There's no angles to take really, because this is second or third floor where the windows are closed towards the arena, so you just have to push it.
He obviously goes for the flash and does get it. Lucky enough, he does get another shotgun off. I think it was a bit more of a closure rise and fire, but does go down eventually. Obviously, this game was slightly different in the context that we get our way through to the end section, so you win the hot drop, and again, game number 5 didn't quite go the way, and obviously we ended up going there, and they actually died pretty much straight after that. I know you guys got the win, and then you got tabbed by someone hanging out on a ridge really far away. So you won the hot drop.
Yeah.
But you just get one tab, which is quite frustrating.
Yeah, we were resting open.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
not open for us, but for them.
Yeah, for them it was open. A little window they saw us. Yeah.
Open. It was a tiny window, and he's halfway down the bloody road.
Comms after the hot drop in this game as well was like, just rest safe now, just carry us.
Yeah. Everyone get in, close the door. You guys play out towards the west. You take the high side. You go for a scout on the high side as well, and then you sort of look back. Rainbow obviously is the compound we're just passing by in the distance at the moment, and you just about see the cars I think now.
I mean, it's always easier to see things if you get high ground and then you just try to scout. And then now we, for example, saw that this compound was free and we're not in zone and the compound is, so it's just an easy choice to go there then.
I do like this bit. Get the cars in, you both try to squeeze in at the same time. But anyway, you're lucky. The team above you were fighting. I suppose if someone's on the cliffs, quite a difficult area to take, right? Because they were just sort of hammered down. Maybe Rainbow would shoot back to them, and maybe you sort of slip between the net. I've actually always found this compound quite difficult to play out of. But you play it really well. Your focus here, Fuzz, is to focus on Rainbow, right? And don't let them push you.
Yeah, and also they changed the area around this compound a little bit, so it's a little bit different to play out from than it was before.
Yeah. It was way harder before.
Yeah.
You guys play this so well, and there's some comms as well. You guys put deployable shields into cars. Like, I still struggle finding teams not putting U2 on using the cars effectively, but there's a clear comms in a second that goes, get the shield in the car and make the player make the push.
Yeah, it's also something where sometimes people don't really feel like they have the time to, do those little preparation things. And I mean, it's true. Sometimes you really don't have the time. Maybe because you have to balance it between like when you're doing those things, then you don't take info or you don't see where people move and stuff like this, right? So it's always a balance if it's worth it to do or not. And then I guess it depends a little bit on where you put the cars and how close it is to the items and stuff like this.
So a bit of time goes by, and what we just missed, obviously you guys did stop 990 come to your way. Rainbow played down the roads and in towards that question mark area. Very difficult area to play as well. And then the option is to get intel from above. So you guys are trying to farm, and it's very clear as well. You start piecing together who's who and where's and who's fighting what, because there's a comm of FaZe were fighting Twisted Minds, I believe, earlier, and now FaZe are fighting How, and you're like, you piece together based upon the kill feed.
Yeah, and that's all. I mean, that's something that that any good pro team does, where you get the kill feed, right? And then you kind of know where they drop. You should know kind of what area they're supposed to be in. And then you kind of piece together those little pieces of information together, and then you realize that maybe you have more playable space on that side now because there was 3 teams fighting and stuff like this, right? So it influences your decision making quite a lot.
And this is a big decision, though, right? Because Intenz, you literally get kicked out of the car, mate. Clip's like, get out and run. He doesn't even drop you off to the right location. He's like, just get out of the car, mate. And he calls back. Again, Fuzz, just talk us through, like, why is he going back? Why is he coming back to the compounds?
So it's always, if you can, then you prefer to have multiple angles, and so that people can't just roll up on you for free. Whereas if you're stacking up everyone on the same spot, then everyone around you have more space to do things, right? So you're trying to keep as much space open to yourself as possible, always. And the less you stack up, the more you hold space, right? Because you have more angles and you see more area.
Makes perfect sense. And there you go. There's that deployable shield. Obviously coming to full effect. Unfortunately, I think Intenz, you get caught by a really random angle from the field, actually. But we see that in a second. Now, Clib doesn't opt to go for the car here. He actually goes for the run up the hill. And I'm going to make the assumption that actually he didn't want to give away any intel that he's moving closer to them, right? It's a sound thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, probably it's that's always gonna be a personal decision kind of thing. Where if you feel like you can make something happen, like a good play, like there, for example, he feels no one is looking at him, he feels free to run, then he'll just do it, and then you try to support him afterwards.
I think this is where he's. There we go. Talking about see the blue fight. I'm assuming there's a ping up there. You guys have got up the top, and yeah, he now goes for that send. And makes the play up here. I'm very surprised to get caught from behind now, I'll be honest with you. Even looks.
Yeah, sometimes you can hit really good timings where people people don't always look exactly where you're gonna run. So sometimes you hit that timing where no one looks and you run an open field full free. So. And
then there's some real big discipline here. And I don't have it, that's why I don't play your level, boys. And there's a player. Clearly tags it, right? I would have been pulling the trigger at that point. But he doesn't. He takes some shots now from below. He has to go for a med. Really lucky he doesn't go over the ridge. And we do see Crexy obviously on the other side. But that one decision there, he's able to pick up 2 players. He gets 1. I think Fuzz, you've played up here as well.
Yeah.
And there's a second phase wipe. Like, that discipline is insane.
Yeah, and that's something where you very clearly see like the experience of a player where they really make the right decision, even though, like you said, a lot of people would probably shoot as well. And I just experienced him had a lot of situations like that before, and then you try to get as much information where the enemy is before you start shooting.
Yeah. You got caught by the field there.
Where's the other guy? I see him running open orange, running east.
There we go. Team done, dusted. Look, 990 didn't have anywhere else to go. They had to try and get in. They were either going to push you or go further down the field. So it was always going to be a difficult area to play. But your comms are so clear here. Like, you're figuring out where the players are. And like Fuzz, I don't know what goes through your mind, but you opt to get in the car and you kind of instantly know where to go. Like, has this been something? Is this a game plan? I know we've seen areas like this a few times, but have you played these dips before down this side?
Not really. Like it's map knowledge. That's it, really. Like you kind of know how it looks. It's not something you usually play at all, especially not me from that side. But it's just sometimes you know how the map looks exactly, and then you make a play off that. That's it, really. And that's why it's so important to, even if maybe sometimes, at least from my personal experience and what I think, it's very valuable to play ranked games and just play the game, because sometimes you know of a specific place you can play a lot better than if you don't play the game that much, you know, even though you're a fantastic player otherwise.
True.
That's very true. See, you're swapping out here. Worth noting, your damage leader, mate. 800 damage on the board, only 3 kills, unfortunately, though. But go back. I think you go pick up a more util at this point.
I
8
have some
nades,
util
insane
on
amount
my
of
as well,
util you've
just
got in your
saying.
back pocket. I think you guys are allowed to go too much, I'll be honest.
8 nades.
You've got insane amount. I think Clip comes down in a second, and again he picks up more. You put the shield, I'm shooting back in the cart, and away you go.
I think it has to be like here on blue.
And there's that comms, like again here on blue, and you can just get here and you're like, this is perfect.
And that's gonna be an extra rotation. This one will stall out a little bit, but then we realize how bad it is, and like it's not playable, and then you start to move away from that as well.
Yeah, good couple of shots here. I think obviously BBO, they were in the field earlier. They didn't really have anything else to play, right? So they push into the dip, that roadside. You guys call it the phase compound, but where Exalt was sitting, they don't need to move at the moment. I think they're waiting for the zone to play back towards them. I always see it play this side of the road more often than not, if I'm honest. But again, there's no need for them to move. And Win or Die arguably is in quite a difficult situation, especially if any more pressure was coming from above. But now Clib's moved away. They've got a lot of freedom of movement in that bowl, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's still not a big bowl, and they can't run out of it, of course, because the rest of the server can see them. But at least they're a little bit safer there now, yeah.
So you guys can pull up here. Objective, I'll get rid of BBL, right? They launch a couple of nades back, and a couple of shots coming out. Obviously, Exalt are stopping you playing peekaboo over the top, aren't they? You want to put that guy in, and then I think you do, and then we see the nades cook now.
They should be there somewhere.
Yeah, 4 nades.
I have 4 nades.
And then there goes.
Yeah, we had a lot of nades.
Yeah, it's worse than more, lads. The Carney flattens him. Another one. That's perfect. Insane. But that's the downside of where they're playing, right? Giving the ball and nades only roll down.
Yeah, it's always gonna be those kind of ball spots where if people get semi-close, then you're in nade range, then it's really rough very fast. So, but if you look at it from another point of view, like maybe they got 4th instead of 8th here, you know, without play. So, yeah, it's always a choice you have to make if it's worth it or not.
Take it. Extra placement points. They're ending in 4th. You're right, they were in the field for quite some time as well, so they could have been a little bit of a different game for them. Comms are really clear. Pick up one, and then it's the second one. Now he calls forward, right, to get information, right?
Oof.
Great money.
Yeah. Perfect money.
I think that's what you say, actually.
Yeah.
There's the final section. It's quite difficult here. It's really unfortunate. It actually touches the molly. It's got no lid as well. It's worth mentioning. On the way back, he got caught. Got a crazy haircut though. I love that. Better.
Yeah, they make that. I mean, I think it was a good aggressive play from them here. Because sure they lose to Win or Die here, right? Probably. But it's sometimes you play for a second and you kill everyone else, and then you let the other team win.
Yeah, look, I think that was the right play from them. Like, I think the argument was they could have played that little ridge, but they would have been pinned out after that point anyway. So it was aggressive play. I think it was right playing. Yeah, right. Win or Die, because they got the freedom, they're able to sort of leave that bowl and get rolling. I think the game's good. I know you didn't get the chicken dinners that you wanted, but there's a couple of key things for me. Your comms are insane, like insane. Now, that partly comes Intenz from years of playing, right? And a little bit of cohesion from a team.
I do have a lot still to improve comms-wise. That's something I tried to work on like a year ago to improve just being more specific, because I used to be a guy who liked to talk a lot and raised my voice a lot, and that could, like, you have to find what floats the boat in your team, like synergy wise. And Simsi, like my old teammate, he liked my energy, so I was just riding along with it. But it was some messy comms here and there.
Your guys' comms are so clear though, Fuzz, and I think you guys have got this kind of like naming convention on the go. Obviously, each team will have a different naming convention, but I think you put people in check as well. Sometimes you're like, use the right names, right? Does that make such a difference from just being a shouty team to recheck?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it is what things can work differently in different teams, right? But I prefer where it's kind of a relaxed environment where people just can speak, don't have to shout to hear each other. And that also enables everyone to hear steps and other sounds. So if you, for example, if you have someone talking really loudly all the time, then maybe you don't hear them moving the car behind you, and you don't get the info from that other team, or you don't hear the steps of this guy trying to creep up on you and stuff like this. So I prefer where people talk in a normal kind of tone of voice, unless it's extremely super urgent, and then it's good if you raise your voice.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Or just saying perfect or better. Do you like that? Better. I might just get that as an emote. Better. Love it. I love the competitiveness that you guys have got at the level of the pro. Obviously, I'm just a body caster that just gets to observe you guys most of the time. Obviously, very quickly before I let you guys go, a couple of questions really for me now is this year, 2024, is big year. Obviously, you guys are synergizing and finalizing the team. Formulation Gaming is looking really good at the moment. That's not blowing smoke to you guys. You just seem calm while you're fighting. What's the objectives? Obviously, to qualify, right, for PEC and get to the land.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same for every team, I guess. It's just like make sure that you qualify and then do the best you can at any event, you know. And obviously we saw the roadmap now too as well, and then it's not that many qualifiers, so it's really important that we do well in the ones we have.
How do you prepare as a team then? What's the steps now? I suppose it's logic answer scrimming, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always a lot of screaming, especially when you have a new team and you kind of have to match together. And obviously, like me and Clip try to pass a little bit of our experience down to Texas and Intenz. And that takes some time, of course. Yeah, talk about things, issues in the team, or what we think we can improve on and stuff like this, you know. It's always a lot to improve for any team.
And then obviously get yourself in the 2024 season. Good to see you guys at LAN and get you guys up there. Is there anything you guys want to mention out from a new and upcoming team or player or someone trying to get into us? Let's start with Intenz. So what would you recommend for someone to get into sort of PUBG Esports?
I would recommend joining a Discord where you have the opportunity to play with other players as much as you can, and hopefully you can end up playing scrims. I know EU scrims, does it have a different name now? Mates scrims. It was mates before, but I think it's
EU,
just
no,
EU
yeah,
scrims these days. That platform is like a really good opportunity for some upcoming teams as well. That's
it's
the
probably
best
the
advice I can give.
Probably the best grassroots kind of Discord you can get into. And then you obviously have to just try to find the teammates through those Discords and try to start improving. And it's really all you can do to begin with. Obviously, you can't count on getting picked up. Maybe you think you're a great player, but it's a long way before a lot of other people think you're a great player too.
So basic, get in the Discord, get playing. Yeah, there are quite a few. So yeah. Mates is now EU. I'll get the link below. There's Naps for NA. We've got like the 1%. There's loads that are region Pacific as well. So I'll try and get as many links for these Discords I can. Obviously, guys, thank you very much for jumping in. More importantly, this is one I hope of many. I'll need to change a few bits and pieces and get the audio up higher and all these other bits. But I've got loads of ideas for this anyway. But, well, that's it. That first episode done and dusted. Again, I want to thank, obviously, Intenz and FuzzFace for jumping in. It's actually wonderful having them as guests and getting a bit more of an insight into how they achieve things, what they're trying to do. 2024 is going to be a tough season for PUBG. And hopefully I'm going to bring some more videos to these. I'm already talking to a few more teams and got a few more recordings underway. Where we are going to look at other teams, other thought processes, because not every team follows the same path and same IGL methodology. So look, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be ready next time. We've got live streams coming up. So I'll see all you guys in the next event.